Hi, I'm Louise from Exam Papers Plus, and I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the GL assessment exams. Now, many grammar schools across the country use the GL assessment exam board to assess prospective candidates for Year 7 entry, so in other words, for their 11 plus exams. GL assessment has been helping schools assess children's skills, academic potential and overall well-being for over 35 years, so they do know what they're doing. At 11 plus, the GL exam can cover English, maths, spatial reasoning, verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning. The combination of subjects does depend on the school. The exam is in a multiple choice format and it's machine marked with separate answer sheets, although some schools also include standard format assessments. This often comes up in Stage 2 exams in the schools that have that part as their entry process. Let's now look at the subjects tested in a little bit more detail. GL English papers consist of 4 main components, and these are comprehension, punctuation, spelling and sentence completion. The reading comprehension usually includes a passage that's about 1.5 to 2 pages in length, followed by 3 spelling, punctuation and grammar sections with roughly 8 to 10 questions each. Now these questions take the format of either complete the sentence or spot the mistake. The timings and number of questions can change from school to school, but on average you usually have 1 minute per question. But of course, some question types may take longer than others. For example, you might spend more time on the comprehension questions than the SPAG questions. Now moving on to maths, GL Maths exam covers a wide variety of key Stage 2 topics in multiple choice format. So solid foundations and rapid recall of number facts will really help your child to excel in what is often quite a time-pressured section. It's something like 50 questions in 50 minutes on average, so roughly a minute per question. However, as mentioned before, certain schools will be a little bit more time-pressured. For verbal reasoning, GL assessment 11 plus questions assess a child's ability to connect, spot patterns, relationships, and manipulate verbal information. The number of questions can vary, but on average, candidates have roughly 37 seconds per question. So doing really well in verbal reasoning relies on a broad vocabulary and understanding what words mean. Whilst reading underpins verbal reasoning, of course the style of VR questions that come up in the GL Grammar School exams are not practiced at primary school. So it's a really good idea to build your child's familiarity with these question types so they're not panicked or stumped on exam day. And here's the good news. GL verbal reasoning papers are quite formulaic, using a fixed set of question types. So this means that with a little bit of familiarity and technique development, your child can go a long way in improving their scores. Similarly, GL non-verbal reasoning tests also utilise a limited number of question types, so it is possible for students to be completely familiar with all of them ahead of the exam. The NVR part of the exam is usually split into subtests, and each subtest is separately timed, so that means that your child will need to stop when they're told to do so, and then all candidates will move forward to the next section at the same time. Therefore, being familiar with the question types and being aware and able to manage your own timings is crucial for this part of the test. On average, candidates get about 30 seconds per question. At Exam Papers Plus, we have everything you need to prepare for your GL exam. We have school-specific full-length practice tests, skills tests and video masterclass tutorials which cover everything your child needs to know to do well in their 11 plus GL exam. Our full-length practice tests, which are school-specific, ensure that you're only preparing the areas tested for by the school that you're going for, and they've been meticulously researched and prepared to ensure that they are accurate representation of the format, structure, timings and question types of the real exam. Here's just a few examples of the level of attention and details that our papers contain. Number 1, we ensure that the exact timings of the actual test are used not only for each test section, but also for each practice section where relevant. Number 2, we include key question types that you won't find elsewhere. Number 3, our answer sheets have been replicated exactly, so your child will get used to marking their answers as they will in the actual test. And number 4, each time section is presented in the exact same format and order as it will be in the actual test. As with all of our resources on Exam Papers Plus, our GL practice papers are specifically designed to unlock your child's potential and support them to perform at their very best. Any questions? As always, please do get in touch. We love to hear from you. And we want you to know that we're always here to help you help your child become exam ready.